Hey everybody, Kyle from KyleTech here live from the sewing room today. And today we're going to talk about internet privacy. Why? Because the internet is spooky, and we'll give you some services and some tips to help you keep yourself safe on the internet, because it feels like we see data leaks every day, where some retailer's database was breached, email addresses, passwords, credit card informations are leaked, and that is not fun at all. And there are some things and services you can use to keep yourself safer on the internet. So let's talk about it. Break things down to a couple categories. We have VPNs, we have browsers, we have mail services, and we also have messaging. So let's jump into it. So first of all, we said VPNs. We'll talk about 3 different VPNs that I'm trying out right now that seem to be both very secure and very popular. Even though there are a lot more, which some of them are good, but we'll just keep it to the smallest. So first is ExpressVPN, second is NordVPN, and third we'll talk about ProtonVPN. And I mention all of these 3 because, well, these are the ones I'm using, and when you look up like best VPNs and popular VPNs, these are always like on those lists. But first, you might wonder what a VPN is. A VPN is a virtual private network. Essentially, it's a middleman server between you and the internet. So you connect to a VPN server, then it connects to the internet, and it hides your IP address. Simple privacy and effective. The 3 services, Express, Nord, and Proton, that I like because, one, they have a no logging policy. This means that there's never any logs of your action ever. 2, they say they have RAM only servers, so when they reboot their servers, any other traces are completely wiped. And 3, they have specialty protocols or other connection options which can add an even more interesting layer. For example, Nord has options where you can do a double VPN connection, or they also offer an onion over VPN connection, which uses some servers in Europe, which further obscure your browser traffic. Proton has something called Secure Core, which again, some servers in Europe are more secure, or I read their explanation, not quite sure, but it sounds great, and it does offer more security. Also, something that Proton does, which I like, is they have certain servers in countries that also use the Onion router, and they have some in the US too, so which is great. Express, they have a couple things that I think maybe it's built into their lightweight protocol. Yeah, we'll just say that we'll just stop it there for features. I mean, they all have wide server availability, which is great. Pretty clean interfaces, which is also great. Super easy to use and set up, so very important. Some worries that people might have when using a VPN is, well, I'm connecting to another server, won't my internet connection be slower, or what about streaming or gaming? And those are definitely valid concerns. For the most part, that is also not really like something that happens, unless you choose to connect to a server that's halfway across the world. You're located in the west coast of the US and you want to connect to something in Europe, the physical distance is just going to be further away, and then you will have some ping, and that's just a thing that happens. But generally, for the most part, no lag. So use the VPN. No concrete recommendations, one of those 3, or do your own research. Honorable mention there, Apple does have something on the iPhone. It's called iCloud Private Relay. This also kind of acts like a VPN. and you can layer it on top of a VPN. I don't know if it uses the private relay from Apple either before or after the VPN connection, but another cool layer if you have an iPhone. So those are VPNs. Easy tool, definitely get one. Next, I believe we said browsers. So, and if not, my apologies, but we're going to talk about browsers now. So there are two main privacy browsers that like advertise themselves as privacy browsers. One is Brave, which has an interesting like lion face shield, maybe to protect you from scary stuff on the internet. And two has a goofy name called a DuckDuckGo. There are also like Opera, Mozilla browsers. We don't know we're not talking about those because these two are, because Brave and DuckDuckGo market themselves as privacy browsers. So let's dive into that. So what is the use of a privacy browser? Well, privacy browsers block ads, they block trackers, and you can block scripts from running on the internet. So like operationalize, what does that mean? Well, let's say it's summer, so let's say you want a cool pair of Birkenstocks to wear like to the beach or something. You go to Birkenstocks, you look at the sandals, cool. And then you go to another website and then you see Birkenstock ads. Well, your phone is listening. You might think, well, is my phone listening to me? It is, but not in the way you think it is. There are ad trackers that websites that like services like Google, Adobe, and among others use to kind of like get your browsing history and kind of provide you information on your interest to try and get you to buy stuff. It's not like super sinister, but it's kind of both Adobe or both Brave and DuckDuckGo block all of these. I have not seen an ad in like a couple months now, and it does provide for a more clean browsing experience. If you've ever gone to like the website data part of the Safari settings, and you see a bunch of websites you swear you've never been to, well, you have. Those are the relay addresses from all those trackers. So interesting little tidbit there. The only really there are a couple small differences between DuckDuckGo and Brave, not necessarily in functionality. It just kind of in like how they tell you what trackers are blocked. In DuckDuckGo, they try to give whenever you go to a new website, they make a like showing in the address bar like we're crossing out these, and you can tap on it, and it gives each website kind of like a security grade. You can see the certificate, if any, whether or not like the connection is secure or encryption is enforced. So that's interesting. Brave has their lion head shield logo in the address bar. You just tap it, it says Brave Shields up, and X amount of trackers blocked, which is cool. Brave and DuckDuckGo also have like data and history wipe buttons. Brave's is located somewhere in the settings. DuckDuckGo's is a fire button that's more apparent. You hit those, wipes all your browsing history, clears the website data. Very cool. Couple other quick things we'll say about it. They do have, I think maybe they use Chromium as a back, but they're very feature-rich browsers. They browse very quickly, so don't worry about that. I mean, if you want to run something that uses like Google Widevine or something, you can turn them on per site. So it does give you very granular control of your browsing experience. So you're not missing. So you're blocking the content you don't want to see, but you're not missing the content that you want to see, which is awesome. DuckDuckGo does give you the option to create an @duck.com forwarding address, which we'll talk about email stuff in a little bit, which is cool when you use the browser. Brave has a couple interesting features. It has like a video conferencing thing built in, has a crypto wallet built in, has a VPN built in if you want to pay and use that. And if you don't already have one, Brave also to kind of like, so websites get money through ad revenue, and Brave is like their compromises. You can earn a cryptocurrency called a basic attention token by getting Brave private ads. They're kind of like an in-app, like small banner talking about mostly like crypto wallets. Very unobtrusive. And when you browse, you get awarded basic attention tokens. If you are a website and you're part of their creator program, you can donate some of these tokens to kind of like offset at least a little bit of ad revenue. So cool stuff. Definitely check out Brave and DuckDuckGo. Does change your browsing experience, but for the better. Next, we'll talk quickly about emails. So obviously you've heard of like Outlook or Gmail, Yahoo Mail, iCloud Mail. They're all good services, but if you want like to try something different that adds a little bit of privacy, we'll talk about two of them here. One is Hey, second is Proton. Interesting. You think it's very interesting, right, that people are trying to reinvent email in like 2020 on, but there's some stuff there. So mainly what Hey and Proton do, besides offering, talking about like more secure emails, different encryption protocols, that's a big focus of Proton's. They block trackers. So these are slightly different than the website trackers. If you get an email like you ordered something or you subscribe because you wanted 15% off, or you get like a daily news article from the New York Times, they will generally embed tracking pixels. So when you open the email, the tracking pixel will go back to the server and it'll tell the sender that you open the email, what kind of device you're using, all that fun stuff. Both Hey and Proton block these, which is very nice. So there's that. And what else do they do? Hey has like something called the screener, which is cool. First time you get an email from any unique email address, it'll put it in this bucket. You can sift through, be like, yeah, that's real. No, that's spam. That's nice. I believe Hey does, but definitely Proton does. You can create different email addresses. I believe this is like, if you pay, well, they both are essentially paid email services. So there is that. But you can create email addresses. So for like Proton, I have one that I use just for orders. That way I can keep my main email address off the internet as much as I can, so it doesn't appear in data leaks, and I don't need to search through haveibeenpwned.com and change a bunch of passwords, which is really nice. I think Hey does that too, but I'll have to double check. DuckDuckGo does give you the option, again, if you're using the browser, you can register for an @duck.com email address, and you can also choose to generate a random email address too. If you are using Safari, you can choose a hide my email option where it generates a random email address for you to do that as well. So that helps to keep, again, your main email address off the internet, and you're not changing a bunch of passwords later. Last but not least, we'll talk about messaging services. In the US, we're all fans of just using text messaging. So we don't think about that much. So how do I want to say it? Well, we'll just say that that's not something people think about. But now we see services that do take care of this. So iMessage is a big one. If you have an iPhone, you have your blue bubbles. Those are encrypted. If you're using an Android phone and you're messaging someone else with an Android phone, and your carrier supports RCS, those are encrypted. If you use WhatsApp, that's encrypted. If you use a Telegram secret chat, that is encrypted. And you use Signal, well, Signal is definitely encrypted. For the most part, the last three services are more feature-rich because they're not, while they all do require a phone number to operate, they're more like internet messengers. Like if you don't have an internet like if you don't have any bars but you're connected to the internet, they'll still work. So that's cool. Very robust. There's really less to say about messaging other than if people can intercept your text messages or read it. And just be safe out there, I guess. iMessage is great. Signal's great. They're all great services. Just if you're worried about that, you should pick one. Or it might be already enabled. Anyways, we're going to wrap this up. So if you like what we're doing, please like, subscribe, let us know how we're doing, and be safe out there. So that's for us at KyleTech, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.